Hello fellow wizards, I'm Creatures from the Thunderbird server. I'm starting a new channel for the Harry Potter Magic Awakened mobile game. It's soft release on the 31st of March 2023 and currently available to Austria, Denmark, Finland, Israel, Luxembourg, Norway, Poland, South Africa, Sweden, and Switzerland and Singapore. As you may know, there's the Chinese version of the game, which was released last year, and I had a chance to play it briefly. Sorry to everywhere else, but if you look hard enough, there are some people who are having luck with VPNs and APKs. And sorry to the iOS users, the game is still being refined, so rest assured that you will have the best possible version of the game when it's officially released. So what is this game? Is this game for you? There are a few things that you can do in this game, but the crux of it is the spellcasting game using spell cards, cards that you collect and build a deck with. You use this deck against opponents in task, either in a class or against a boggart or a troll, or for duels, which is the main PvP part of the game, or to advance the story. Yes, of course, there is a story. The game is set about 10 years after the Battle of Hogwarts. You play as a new student who is a Muggle-born. In the Harry Potter fashion, Hagrid finds you, introduces you to this magical world, and then takes you to Diagon Alley. There you will meet your new classmates and then eventually hop onto the Hogwarts Express and head to Hogwarts to get sorted. The sorting hat sorts you into a house, but in Harry Potter tradition, you get to put yourself in your favorite house. In this game, you will have 3 other friends who will be sorted into your house, and a few more classmates, some friends, some rivals. And I don't want to spoil much for more than this for now, but as you progress, you fight boggarts, spiders, you fight your rivals, and using the spell deck I mentioned before. Right now, there's a year 1 story and a year 2 story, and I think a year 3 was already released in the Chinese version, which I do not have much information about. Just bear in mind that if you want the game to last, don't feel like you need to binge the game and rush through the whole story. Instead, chill out, fully explore the game and the grounds. So what else is there to do in this game? There are classes to attend, and the classes changes daily. So some days you get the defense against the dark arts, some days you get charms, some days you have both. You take part in classes in groups of 3, where you can invite your friends or real life friends to compete together, or just queue up and get randomly paired with other players. Classes like the Defense Against the Dark Arts and Charms and Care for Magical Creatures, you still use your spell deck with a slight twist to keep things different. In History of Magic, you will take a quiz with 15 questions ranging from what's Luna's Patronus to who did the Ministry of Magic send as Hogwarts High Inquisitor. You kinda compete, but your total score will affect your grade. In Divination, you play a mini Pictionary game. You draw what you see in a crystal ball. This is where having a stylus may help, but you can pull it off with just your finger. The game decides how accurate the picture that you draw is and gives you a score. Then this drawing gets passed around to your friends who will try to guess what it is. In this current version, the system refines your drawing so that you will be able to guess it no matter what. In the Chinese version I tried last year, some of the drawings may not be clear, but sometimes the multiple choice answers that they give may guide your answer anyway, so not all is lost. Disappointingly, there isn't a formal class for potions, but there is a mini game where when you get a new potion recipe. You fan the flame or throw in ingredients at the right time, or stir the pot clockwise, anti-clockwise. You pass a certain point threshold, you'll be able to complete the potion. If not, you have to restart making a potion again. And after you complete making a potion, you can make the potion again whenever you want, if you have enough of the ingredients. Then there's also co-curricular activities, social club and the Quidditch. Quidditch is currently unavailable, but it's like the 70s game Speed Race. You travel along the Quidditch field along a fixed track. You fly along the track and dodge left to right, get speed ups, or you get knocked off by Bulgers or other Quidditch players. You only get to play as a chaser, so whenever you fly near the goal, you can tap on the goal and you launch the quaffle to score. The faster you are, the more chances you pass by the goal, and that's how you get more points. I only get to got to play this once before, and currently it's just a small mini game where you just fly through hoops around the field with no rewards. The Social Club is a tap dance kind of game where you play with one other player or classmate. Currently there are 6 songs with 3 different difficulties each, where the circle appears and you just tap the circle at the right time, and you aim to get the perfect score as high as possible. Easy difficulty is too easy, and the difficult version is just brutal. If you pay attention to the background, you can see your character dancing away with your partner, and it looks like it has motion capture of real-life professional dancers. It's quite beautiful to watch. There's no real way of failing this. You get rewarded mainly with fireworks, and if you are lucky enough, you get a discount coupon which you can use to unlock more dresses. It's sort of a time-limited event. Currently, it's open by the hour for 20 minutes and inaccessible for the next 40 minutes. You also have up to 3 stamina, which you can is automatically replenished 2 at a time each time you join. Lastly, there's the Forbidden Forest game. There are 2 versions of this, but essentially it's a roguelike game if you're familiar with the term. You start one exploration and you have like 15 different levels, different stages to go through. Each stage you will meet up with up to 3 different choices of path, each which is a different challenge, and the more difficult the challenge, the more rewards there are. Eventually you end up with the final encounter, which is a big boss usually. Rewards are usually in the form of 1 upgraded versions of the spell cards. So like Septum Sempra now hits more enemies, or Time Turner is now cheaper to cast. Some choices get you ingredients, and some are just rest areas where you replenish your health. Yes, you heard me right, you replenish your health. So what that means is that at the end of each stage, what you're left with, that will be what you'll be carrying on to the next stage. So you have to keep your health in check, and you have to choose wisely which spells to upgrade and which paths to take. Don't worry, you can always change up your deck between each stages, and even drink potions if you need to. Okay, so the 2 versions are, there's a solo exploration part and there's a group version where you can take up to 2 other players or classmates with you. In the group exploration, there are several types you can take. Currently available is the Epic Clues and the Deathly Clues, which will be unlocked when you complete Epic Clue number 5. In the Chinese version, I recall seeing many other types of clues you can go through, and even in this version you can see a possible doorway that might open up later in the game. Right now it's just covered with spider webs. In the solo version, there's somewhat a storyline to it, but I've not advanced far enough to conclude that there is one. It gets progressively harder, so I'm only at level 16. At level 6, you actually rescue the Fort Anglia, yes, the one from the book, and the car now collects stuff for you in real time. So when you log in, you can visit the car and collect the stuff it gathered while you are away. The stuff you collect are like gold, potion ingredients, echoes, and echo crystals, and the rewards gets better the higher level you are. At level 9, you get to collect rare echoes, and at level 17, you get to collect the epic quality version. You can also get these rewards from the group exploration as well. However, you only can get rewards once a day, and subsequent ones will reward you with thank you notes. Not too bad, these are actually quite important, and I'll tell you later. Right, so what are echoes? Before I could get deck, I actually left a really big part of the game, which is the spell deck, which I mentioned at the beginning. It is you probably have to take another video detailing what it is. Briefly, you create a deck of spells comprising of 1 echo, 8 spells, and 3 companions, and you'll be given a certain number of movement cards. Then you use this deck to do the various tasks I mentioned before. The echo is like your spirit animal or hero ability or hero class, if you catch my drift. Each echo has a special ability that it brings to your deck. For example, Dobby, he will give you an extra movement cards and actually teleports you instead of you walking around. Or Newt, he will give you an extra summon card for every few summon cards that you cast. Apart from that, the Echo also gives a random combination of cards that they upgrade so that your deck is actually more powerful. So some Echoes are actually more useful to you than others because of these random upgrades. You might not always get the right cards upgraded with the Echo that you want. So you're expected to go into the Forbidden Forest to find more Echoes, and hopefully you get the right Echo with the right combination. Then you have the 3 companions, which usually your classmates, or they're more powerful ones like Hermione and Ron Weasley. They have their own special abilities, which may or may not be beneficial for your deck. You can only cast them once per battle, and there's a long cooldown before you can cast another one. There are about 9 cards you can choose from. Ron Weasley card was actually an event-only card, which currently is no longer available. I'm hoping that once the game is globally launched, it will be available again. And lastly, you have 72 cards you get to choose from to create your deck of 8 cards. There are cards that summon creatures like centaurs. There are cards that do straight up damage like Septum Sempra, and there's cards that do somehow control like Expelliarmus. There's also cards that actually heal like Phoenix and Episki. So the game you will actually open up 5 cards at a time, and you get to cast these cards. Once you cast it, you get a new card to replace it, and you keep going. So the common question that appears on Facebook and the chat groups, please help me make my deck better. There's no real one solution to this. As you can see, there are a lot of cards to choose from, and definitely warrants its own video. So as you can see, this is essentially a collectible card game, and the main problem with that is that you have to spend money to get more cards, and the cards you get are random, and you may not always get the card that you want immediately. However, the way the game gets around this is that you can actually trade these cards in using trade tokens, and you can only do this with members from your team or guild. So not all is lost. By the way, I am a free-to-play player at heart, so anything I say from the point of view of a free-to-play player. So I mentioned being in a guild. Being in a guild allows you access to new boss challenge, which over time players contribute by doing damage to the boss, which may take days or at a time. You also get better rewards from playing with players from your guild. When you get the game, get a good guild when you join. Anyway, that's the game in a nutshell. It's different from other cards games out there where you just see static cards being played there. This game is lively and interactive. There are daily quests to do. It takes every 3 hours. They give different tasks, so there's always something to do in the game. There's also daily charms trial, which I found throughout the weekdays. You have a mini puzzle to solve with a predetermined deck of cards to complete a seemingly impossible situation. Completing these daily quests will reward you, usually with cards. So you don't really have to pay a single cent for this game. Of course, if you like the game, support the game, please do support them. With all these mini games as well, you should stay entertained. I really like the art style of the game. It's like a Tim Burton kind of version of the movie characters, but it's more lively and more animated. The story was immersive, and I felt I was back in the boarding school, exploring different areas, finding hidden gems. I actually found cards actually lying around the castle grounds. You will feel like you're actually in Hogwarts. You can visit the familiar locations and faces. You can actually see the grand staircase, and it's constantly shifting. Sometimes you get lost within doing that. Anyway, I shall end my video here today. I'm hoping to be able to make more of these videos and get more people interested in the game. So have a wonderful magical day.